Fire to a Hindu-owned house near the southeastern port city of Chattogram as mob violence emerges as a major crisis in the changing and volatile political landscape. In another step towards Naxal-Mukt Bharat, Ganesh Ukey, head of Naxal outfit in Odisha, eliminated. Now only one top commander remains. Politics over the missing FSI report over Aravalli, Centre and Congress trade charges. Meanwhile, action has been taken after CNN News 18's ground report in Alwar. 8 to 10 routes have been blocked by police using JCBs to stop mining. A 20-year-old Indian student, Shivank Avasthi, was shot dead near the University of Toronto's Scarborough campus. Now, days after Deepu Chandradas's brutal lynching, another Hindu man, this time a 29-year-old Amit Mandal, was beaten to death by a mob in Bangladesh's Rajbari district over alleged extortion claims. The crimes against minorities are rising unabated in the nation as the Islamists run amok. Hindu villages in Bangladesh have been targeted in the recent attacks, with houses set ablaze and threats issued against the community. Not just Hindus, even Christians have been targeted with blasts outside their homes. Meanwhile, BNP scion Tariq Rahman is set to visit the grave of Sharif Osman Hadi, a radical anti-India figure, sparking concerns about potential communal tensions. The visit comes amid rising attacks on minorities in Bangladesh, as we've been reporting, with rights groups documenting numerous incidents of violence against Hindus.
Just after the Deepu Chandradas incident, another mob violence incident happened in Bangladesh and one individual got killed named Amit Mandal. It happened in the last Wednesday in 11 o'clock night local time in the Rajbari area. The individual's name is Amit Mandal, Aka Shamrat. The police and the local people said that Shamrat was actually associated with terrorist activities and demanding extortion money from different people. He formed a criminal group which was named Shamrat Bahini. He actually named the group, he formed the group, and he was associated with several terrorist activities and criminal activities in his own area. According to the police report, Shamrat wasn't present in his area for a very long time. He might be fled in India and stayed there for a long time, but he continued his criminal activity by his associates and others. Recently, he came back to his own area, according to the report, and he started his activities once again. And the local people said that Shamrat went to a particular person's house a couple of days before and demanded some extortion money from that person, and the person actually refused to give that amount of money. And then Shamrat went back from that person's home. Later on, his associates came in that person's home, and right that moment, that person wasn't present in his house, but his son was present. So then Shamrat's associates, they actually beaten his son, and right after the moment, other family members, they shouted for help, and the neighbors came in their house, and they caught Amrit or Shamrat, and later on he was beaten to death. And an associate of him named Selim Sheikh was also caught by the local people, and he was handed over to the police. The police also said that Shamrat and his group's criminal activities were recorded in the police record previously, and they are looking thoroughly for the incident which just happened. And right after this incident, another mob lynching is a very kind of difficult situation for everyone. However, he was he was recorded as a criminal, but just after the incident of one mob lynching, another incident is quite difficult for everyone. And this time, in the Dipu Chandra Das incident, we have seen that Dipu Chandra Das wasn't. There was no proof that Dipu Chandra Das was doing some kinds of blasphemy or any kinds of heinous comments about religion. And this time, some criminal came back from back from outside in his own area, and then in such kind of difficult situation, whenever a lot of people, especially the minority people, are living in some kinds of fear, and he is demanding for extortion money again. This is quite difficult to understand. The police said that they are looking thoroughly for information and why and how this happened, and they will show what happened and what actually was the reason for his death, and who are connected with this mob lynching activities. That's from the report.
And we condemn the incident and what happened yesterday.
Okay.
And that is in front of National Council of Churches.
Okay.
Of Bangladesh.
Okay.
And there is a road, and on the inside of the road there is a church of Bangladesh. And that is very sad for us.
How do you look at the situation in Bangladesh right now, especially for minority communities?
So for the minority community, it is very challenging now.
Okay.
Because you have seen the horse at Bhaluka.
Yeah.
Dipu Chandra Das is brutally killed. You cannot imagine. And I think you have seen the picture, no? How he had been killed and he had been hanged, and he had been beating. Since 5th of August, here in Bangladesh, more than 2,000 incidents happened. And we are very worried about it. And I don't know. As a particular groups, they're working, and now.
Who are these groups, sir? Who are these groups?
It's not been identified, but it's an extremist group. Most probably the extremist.
Okay.
Those extremist groups, they don't like to see the Christianity. They thought most probably the Christians are doing well. Maybe their good works might increase the number of Christians here. That might be their feelings.
Okay.
All right, and in the latest, Sheikh Hasina has said that the Yunus government is burning minorities to death. The Awami League leader accused the current interim government of interfering with the freedom of people of all religions and communities to practice their own faiths. This is the latest statement by former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. For more on this, we have Siddhant and Kamalika live with us. Siddhant, let me come to you. Of course, we are seeing another Hindu man beaten to death in Bangladesh. Islamists run amok. Violence is spiraling out of control. This has emerged as the biggest issue. And there we have the statement by Sheikh Hasina as well. What can you tell us?
Well, that's right, Haim. In fact, on Wednesday, this incident has been reported where this person called Amrit Mandal, alias Samrat, was lynched by the locals in Bangladesh. Now, in fact, the reports are telling us that he was an extortionist. He used to extort money from people, etc., etc. The local newspapers are reporting about him. In fact, there is a statement which came from the Yunus government yesterday. Elaborating the background of Samrat, that he was a history sheeter. He was involved in many violent activities, etc., etc. But at the same time, the same statement also condemns the mobocracy, the lynching of Samrat. So this is a new trend. Perhaps if we are doing this story today, it is not only to do with the background of Deepu Chandra Das or Amrit Mandal. It has to do with this new trend of mobocracy, lynching, the pattern which is emerging in Bangladesh. In fact, when Deepu Chandra Das's case also came in media limelight at that point in time, also I very clearly remember there were many Bangladeshi newspapers reporting that it was not about the communal hatred. It was about the internal rivalry between him and his colleagues at the garment factory, because he was promoted and his colleagues were not promoted, etc., etc. So those things were floated at that point as well. But he was falsely accused. Later, it was found of blasphemy, and interim government arrested more than 15 people. This is what I've been told. Now, in Amrit Mandal's case, also, it is being said that he was an extortionist, history cheater, was involved in violent activities, etc., etc.
Right.
But lynching cannot be justified.
Absolutely.
Whatever may be the background of the person, but lynching cannot. And this pattern is concerning. This mobocracy in Bangladesh is concerning.
Absolutely, Siddhant. Kamalika, let me come to you as well. Kamalika, we're seeing what is happening in Bangladesh. We've seen how in the past few weeks, complete volatility and chaos has ensued in Bangladesh. That being said, of course, the focus remains on free and fair elections, which they do say they will facilitate. There's not a lot of trust right now in Yunus's interim government, with Sheikh Hasina also saying that minorities are being burnt to death.
Yeah, this is absolutely a very important question, that in such a situation, how will election take place in Bangladesh? Because the law and order situation is really at question. And the fact that the minorities, as Siddhant was also pointing out, that the Bangladesh government has come up with a big statement by stating the background of this Amrit Mandal. But the point is, then if he has such a background, then police will go and arrest. Why is the mobocracy there? Why there is this rage against the minorities? Let me tell you, I am from Bengal, and here a lot of people during this time, they go for a cultural program in Bangladesh. Let me tell you, today's status is almost all of them have cancelled their program, because we did a story, if you remember, that a Sarod player, he had to almost flee from Bangladesh, hiding identity as Indian. So if you are a minority, if you are an Indian, then your life is at risk. That's what the Sarod player told me, and that is what the thing which is there in the cultural circle. We share the same language, almost the same language and same culture, but in spite of that, people from Bengal have cancelled. So in such a situation, Tariq Rahman has come yesterday, and a section of people is saying that he has said about all the religions will stay together, everybody will stay together, but we'll really have to see that what the plan is. As far as Yunus government is concerned, they are totally failure. There is no doubt on that, because not only Osman Hadi's killing is also they have to take responsibility. Yesterday there was this viral video of a militant leader who is Vikram Puri, who is now in the jail. He openly said that all this mobocracy is happening because of student leaders of NCP, and then Shibir, which is Jamaat's student organization. All they are inciting. So there is a group which is inciting always. Why there is no check on those group? And if there is no check, then how will free and fair election take place? Anyway, the election is not inclusive, because Awami League is not there. So it's not an inclusive election. Then how will the election take place? And there is a strong group present in Bangladesh who does not want election. That is also very clear. And that's why all these things are happening. That's what international experts are saying.
Right. All right, Kamalika, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on that. Of course, we're also getting lots of political reactions which are pouring in. Let's just listen into some of these.
बहुत चिंताजनक है। हमारे सरकार ने बार बार इस पे वहाँ पे बांग्लादेश के अपने जो मिशन उनको कहलाया है। हम लोगों ने बार बार कहा है कि बहुत चिंताजनक है और इस पर जरूर कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए, इस पर रोकथाम होनी चाहिए।
He has been away for a very long time, and because Begum Zia herself was not well, he has been managing the party quite well. I mean, right after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina's government, we saw that Tariq Zia was able to consolidate the political support for the party, and even though he was doing it online and through various new technologies that are available, he was able to keep the party with him. So his coming back at this stage, when there is so much violence in Bangladesh and the country is literally being torn apart between various ideological views, it is expected that he will bring back some semblance of political stability.
देखिए, हत्या जो की जा रही है वो गलत है, इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है। इस्लाम किसी की हत्या करने को नहीं कहता। एक खबर ये भी आई है कि दीपू ने इस निंदा की है, नबी पाक सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के बारे में कुछ कहा है, लेकिन मैं फिर भी कहता हूं कि इस तरह की हत्या लोकतांत्रिक देशों में नहीं होनी चाहिए। इस्लामिक देश जहां हैं उस पर एक कानून है, इस निंदा का कानून है और उनको सजा दी जाती है, लेकिन यहां नहीं दी जाएगी। मगर जो लोग इसको जेनोसाइड कह रहे हैं, कहां से जेनोसाइड है मुझे बताइए आप। यहाँ के लोगों को उसकी क्या फिक्र? जो लोग हिंदुओं का दम भरते हैं उनको सरहद के पार हिंदू मर रहा है उसकी तो फिक्र है, लेकिन अपने देश के अंदर मुसलमान मर रहा है उसकी फिक्र नहीं है।
প্রিয় ভাই বোনেরা, আজ প্রথমেই আমি রব্বুল আলামিনের দরবারে হাজারো লক্ষ কোটি শুকরিয়া জানাতে চাই। রব্বুল আলামিনের অশেষ রহমতে আজ আমি আমার প্রিয় মাতৃভূমিতে ফিরে আসতে পেরেছি আপনাদের দোয়ায়। আপনাদের মাঝে প্রিয় ভাই বোনেরা, আমাদের এই প্রিয় মাতৃভূমি 1971 সালে লাখো শহীদের রক্তের বিনিময়ে অর্জিত হয়েছিল। একইভাবে পরবর্তীতে 90 স্বৈরাচারের বিরুদ্ধে এদেশের জনগণ, এদেশের খেটে খাওয়া মানুষ তাদের গণতান্ত্রিক অধিকারকে ছিনিয়ে এনেছিল। 2024 সালে 71 সালে এই দেশের মানুষ যেমন স্বাধীনতা অর্জন করেছিল, 2024 সালে এদেশের ছাত্র জনতা সহ সর্বস্তরের মানুষ, কৃষক, শ্রমিক, গৃহবধূ, নারী, পুরুষ, মাদ্রাসার ছাত্র সহ দল মত নির্বিশেষে, শ্রেণী পেশা নির্বিশেষে সকল মানুষ সেদিন 2024 সালের 5ই আগস্ট এই দেশের স্বাধীনতা এবং সার্বভৌমত্বকে রক্ষা করেছিল।
All right, and after Sengar's release, Priyank Kharge takes a dig at the BJP, saying Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao gets a whole new meaning, sharing a post here, to which the BJP has then responded that this was an AI image, saying that the Congress is peddling fake news. After much flack there and after it was rather evident that this is an AI generated image, Priyank Kharge then deleted this post. So on this post, after Sengar's release, which has of course become a huge issue in recent days, politics has broken out over this issue as well. We've been bringing you all the latest updates on that. Priyank Kharge attempts to take a dig at the BJP, sharing an AI-generated image, saying Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao gets a whole new meaning, to which the BJP then immediately responded saying that this is an AI image and the Congress is peddling fake news. Now, after much flack which was received on this post, he then deleted this post. For more on this, we have Afreen Hussain live with us. Now, Afreen, of course, that post that was shared there, an AI image, of course, he's received a lot of flack on that also, and that post is no longer available.
Well, absolutely, Him. You can see at the corner of the image that was posted by Minister Priyank Kharge, there is a symbol that shows that it is an AI-generated image. A lot of fact-checking organizations have also come out and said that this is an AI image because it was widely shared across social media by a lot of users. It had gone viral. This particular image shows BJP MLA Kuldeep Singh coming out of the Tihar jail, being garlanded after he's exited the jail in the rape case. So this is something that was now has now been deleted by the minister after he's received a lot of flack. Even on the comments in the tweet, many of the users made it very clear that this is an AI generated image, and it has been going viral on social media, like I already mentioned. After all the flack, the minister now seems to have deleted the tweet.
Now, really, Afreen, of course, we can't help but wonder if he was perhaps not aware, didn't really see what the image was, didn't actually take the time to fact check whether this happened or not. Because it's really unfortunate. The Unnao rape case, this has, of course, garnered renewed attention in light of the suspension of the life sentence. And this is a really important issue that we've been tracking, and we've been bringing all the developments for our viewers also. And then we see a frivolous post like that really just takes away from the gravity of this entire issue, doesn't it? All right, for more on this, we also are now being joined by Ashok Gaura. Thank you so much for joining me on the broadcast this morning. Good morning. Of course, this post that was shared, which is an AI-generated image, like I was saying, really takes away from the gravity and the intensity of this issue, and which it deserves as well.
Absolutely, yes. Same Priyanka Kharge is a minister in the government which passed a fake bill, fake news spreading. There is a bill which was passed in the last assembly, and as well as a bill which was passed as like hate bill. In both the cases, Priyanka Kharge manages a team which looks after the news which is fake, and per month they pay almost around close to around 1 crore rupees only to make sure that they find out the fact checks and what is fake, what is not fake. With all these things in place, when Priyanka Kharge can do it and say, nothing I've done, then imagine the Karyakartas, BJP Karyakartas or anybody else, or RSS Karyakartas or anybody, who by mistake they posted and they have been arrested several times in the past. So who is going to answer that? And their family cries. Just because, and deaths have happened because of this. In Coorg, one person posted something, they arrested him, and because of that, he committed suicide. So who is going to answer all these things? When Priyanka Kharge does, it is okay. But when others do, then you are in a big trouble. So Priyanka Kharge should know what exactly they do. And if at all he has a levy of posting and then deleting, then others should also have. So that is Priyanka Kharge. They have hypocrites. Basically, Congress people do not understand the reality of the society. Basically, Congress people do not understand how the society functions. That is why this country has not developed in the past 17 years. And when BJP has come, only then there are a lot of things have happened. We are not going to say that they have not done anything. What had to be done by the Congress party when they were in power, they have not done that. And that is why country's progress is slow compared to Germany, Japan, Singapore and other countries, which Israel, which all started with us in 1947. And whether it is farmers' issues, they do not want to solve. Priyanka Kharge is very busy speaking about RSS, speaking about Sanatana, anti-Sanatana, anti-RSS. But it does not put an effort to look into his portfolios like ITPT. He does not look into his portfolios for RDPR, and he does not look into the Gulbarga development. When Gulbarga is the least performed district in Karnataka, what is the father and son doing? From past 1972, the Mallikarjun Kharge ji was the first time MLA, and immediately in the same cabinet he was made a minister also. In spite of all this, they say, oh, we have done a lot of things. Where is the record? Please show the record.
Right. So we hear you. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast this morning with your insights on this as well. And with that, we're going to slip into a very short break, but don't go anywhere. News and updates will continue on the other side on CNN News 18. Do stay tuned.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
We have breaking news coming in from Mysuru. This just in, helium cylinder blast in front of Mysuru Palace kills one person, leaves 4 people injured. The blast occurred near the exhibition grounds close to the Jayamarthalan gate, triggering scenes of panic with people screaming and running in distress on the busy road. Police suspect that the explosion took place while gas was being filled into balloons using a pumping machine. So a helium cylinder exploded near Mysuru Palace, killing a balloon seller and injuring 4 others. The blast occurred during balloon inflation, causing panic in a busy public area. Police have launched a detailed investigation focusing on safety protocols and cylinder handling procedures. Victims have been identified from Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka and Kolkata, as we know so far, and authorities are assessing whether negligence or technical failure caused the explosion. We have CNN News 18's Afreen Hussain joining us live right now. Afreen, good morning and thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. So, how will police and municipal authorities prevent similar incidents in public gathering spaces? They said that they're looking into the incident. How do you think they're going to, moving forward, prevent such incidences from occurring?
A very good morning to you and our viewers as well. Let me tell you that the police is on the scene. It happened at around 9 p.m. Last night. The police has been on the scene trying to figure out how exactly the blast happened, how the helium cylinder that was used to fill balloons was blasted, and it killed one person identified as Salim, who's the balloon seller, and also injured 4 others who were walking nearby. One of them is said to be in a very serious condition. Remains to be seen if that person is going to get better. We will follow up and keep our viewers updated on that. But it remains to be seen what the municipal authorities and the police are going to do going forward to make sure that such incidents don't happen, because it's very, very common that you see helium cylinders being used to fill balloons and sell it on the roads. It's a very common sight. What are the measures? What are the preventions that the municipal authorities are going to use, to make sure that the helium cylinders don't blast like this in the future is something that we have to look into.
Right. Right. Thank you so much, Afreen, for sharing your input with us. Shifting our focus to the Aravalli campaign now, autonomy is often a euphemism for quasi-control, particularly when it comes to government institutions amid the raging debate over the SC verdict on Aravalli's accepting government's 100-meter definition. The focus is now turned to the very report which forms the basis of protests, agitations and prospective challenges to the top court verdict. Quoted by the opposition leaders, environmentalists and citizens, the Forest Survey of India now says there is no report or survey findings in which it claimed that the 100-meter definition for hillocks would put 90% of Aravallis at risk. Days after the denial by the government, the FSI has now issued a statement of its own stating, and I quote, FSI categorically refutes claims in certain sections of the media that it has carried out any study saying that only 9% Aravalli is above 100 meters. The denial, which has become a political football now, also saw the former Environment Minister Jairam Ramesh engage in a war of words with current Environment Minister Bhupender Yadav over the FSI findings. Have a look.
कल सरकार ने एक नोटिफिकेशन निकाला अरावली को लेकर, लेकिन वो नोटिफिकेशन केवल एक सुप्रीम कोर्ट के आदेश की अनुपालन करने का कार्य किया है सरकार ने, जिसमें जिस नोटिफिकेशन के अनुसार सरकार ने कहा है कि अभी जब तक प्लान नहीं बनेगा तब तक माइनिंग का कोई लीज नहीं दी जाएगी। तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी कहा, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने का जो फैसला है, जो फैसला सरकार ने अपनी वकालत करके, गलत वकालत करके कराया है, उसमें यही कहा गया है कि 100 मीटर से कम पहाड़ी अरावली नहीं है और प्लानिंग की जाए और प्लान के बाद नई लीज के परमिशन दिए जाए। अरावली को बचाने के लिए हम संघर्ष करेंगे।
प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी और उनके चुनिंदा पूंजीपति देश में एक राम नाम सत्य है सरकार चला रहे हैं, जिसमें मनरेगा का राम नाम सत्य है कर दिया जाता है तो ग्रामीण श्रमिकों का राम नाम सत्य है हो जाता है। एग्ज़ाम पेपर लीक से छात्रों का राम नाम सत्य हो जाता है। बेरोजगारी के मंजर से युवाओं का राम नाम सत्य हो जाता है। काले कानून से किसानों का राम नाम सत्य हो जाता है। इस पर भी न रुकने वाले ये लोग अब अरावली का राम नाम सत्य है कर रहे हैं। आज के अखबारों में सुप्रीम कोर्ट के 2010 के जजमेंट के बारे में लिखा हुआ है और इस सरकार ने न केवल ये गरीबों के खिलाफ साजिश करती है, महिलाओं के खिलाफ साजिश करती है, मजदूरों के खिलाफ साजिश करती है, बल्कि अब ये हमारे जड़ जंगल ज़मीन पहाड़ों के खिलाफ भी साजिश कर रही है। आने वाली पीढ़ियाँ इस साजिश करने वाली सरकार को ठग्स ऑफ हिंदुस्तान के नाम से जानेंगी।
कि मां अरावली को बचाने के लिए कांग्रेस पार्टी ने यह निर्णय लिया है कि सभी जिलों के अंदर कांग्रेस पार्टी जन जागरण अभियान चलाएगी और हम अलवर के अंदर 27 तारीख को एक बहुत बड़ा जन जागरण अभियान की
Welcome back to CNN News 18. Thank you so much for staying with us. Here's the latest that we're getting for you right now. The army has eased its ban on Instagram, allowing personnel to view and monitor content on the platform, but still have barred them from sharing, posting or commenting on any information on the platform. This fresh directive updates the 2020 policy, which had fully prohibited Instagram use, while similar limits continue on apps like YouTube and X. Messaging apps such as WhatsApp, Telegram and Signal remain permitted with caution, and LinkedIn only for job-related purposes with approval. The order also warns troops against VPNs, pirated software and anonymous browsing tools to maintain operational security. So this is an easing of a 2020 rule that we're seeing right now. For more on this, we have Akash Sharma live with us. Akash, thank you so much for joining us, of course. What do you think triggered this move?
Right. So you see, Indian Army Chief, in fact, during the Chanakya Defense Dialogue, categorically mentioned that how communication is very important. Information warfare is something that is very important. Even during Operation Sindoor, we have seen that how Pakistan and in fact Pakistani accounts ran a social media campaign, and even when they lost, in fact, against the Indian forces. They claimed victory. And this is something that has become a trigger point. Since then, we have been seeing a lot of efforts, even, within the forces, that how information warfare is important. Earlier, too, there was a focus, but this time around, it has been categorically mentioned that forces and, in fact, the Jawans, troops can definitely use social media, but they have to be cautious enough, while using. Instagram, for that matter, was earlier not allowed, but now, passive usage is allowed, where you are allowed to see the content, you are allowed to, see any sort of information that is there, but you are not allowed to engage. And also for, platforms like WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, people within the forces are allowed to use these platforms. But for example, in WhatsApp, they have been categorically, in fact, asked that in case you don't know anyone in any of the group that you are a part of, you should not engage in that particular group, because you should know the identity of each and every individual who is there in that particular WhatsApp group. So this time around, it is some sort of easing, and Instagram has been allowed with, of course, the caution.
Absolutely. Now, Akash, of course, one would only expect that they aren't sharing any sort of information there. And with regards to that, it's only fair that there are approvals and mechanisms in place for the same. But as you mentioned, we are seeing the evolution of warfare as well. Information wars, narrative wars. This is something that has really emerged in the recent geopolitical narratives that we've seen also. To that end, then, this easing of the ban, how do you think it's going to impact this particular aspect of warfare?
Right. So you see, there are a different aspect of this particular story. One is that earlier, in fact, till now, in the operational commands, we see that how troops have been advised to not to use these social media platforms, because these platforms, if they'll post anything that can, of course, lead to leakage of the sensitive information, leakage of their location. And enemy can utilize that particular information. But for this particular order, where Instagram has been allowed. So Indian Army and the officers have somewhere understood that how important and crucial social media is, at this point in time, given that we are seeing a number of conflicts and wars at this point in time. Russia, Ukraine for that matter is the biggest example, where we are seeing that one fight is going on the ground and another one is going on social media, where we have claims and counter claims from both the sides. So, given that picture, information warfare is important. And as far as Instagram is concerned, so it has been advised not to interact, also because of the fact that you don't know, there are a number of Pakistani-based accounts, in fact, the accounts that have not revealed their actual identity, and they can utilize, their identity, or they can utilize their pseudo information to, in fact, trap you in some sort of, game. And that's the reason why it has been advised to not to interact. You can, of course, see the content. You can, of course, see the kind of, information that is coming on the platform.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the latest on this, Akash. Of course, we'll continue to bring viewers all developments on that front as well. But let's shift our focus for now. Ganesh Ukey, the head of the Naxal outfit in Odisha, was eliminated in a major security operation in Kandhamal district, along with 5 other Naxalites. Ukey carried a bounty of 1.1 crore rupees and was known by multiple aliases, including Hanumantu and Rajesh Tiwari as well. He was originally from Telangana. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has hailed the operation as a significant milestone towards Naxal-free Bharat, stating that Odisha is on the threshold of becoming completely free from Naxalism. Arms and ammunition were recovered from the site, indicating the group's involvement in violent incidents. With Ukey's elimination, only one top commander were given to understand remains, marking a significant body blow to the Maoist leadership structure in the state. And Amit Shah is also said to inaugurate a Counter-Terrorism Conference, which will underscore the government's focus on eradicating this sort of extremism. As you know, India has been on the path of a Naxal-Mukt Bharat 2026. We have seen how much India has worked towards eliminating red terror in the country this year alone.
एक बहुत बड़ी सफलता उड़ीसा पुलिस को और सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस को मिली है, जिसमें 4 नक्सल निहत हुए हैं और उसमें एक सेंट्रल कमेटी का मेंबर गणेश उइके है, जो कि उड़ीसा में जितने भी माओवादी का जो ऑपरेशन था वो उसका हेड था। उसे आज सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस ने निहत करा है और मैं समझता हूं कि इससे जो माओवादी का जो आतंक था उड़ीसा में, उनका जो है रीढ़ की हड्डी थी वो, और वो आज टूट गई है और इससे जो है बहुत बड़ा एक जो है बदलाव आएगा माओवादी स्थिति में उड़ीसा के अंदर। केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री महोदय ने जो एक आह्वान दिया है मार्च 2026 तक माओवाद का अंत करने के लिए, उड़ीसा पुलिस उस ऑब्जेक्टिव को अतिशीघ्र पूरा करने के लिए पूरी जी जान से लगी हुई है और मुझे पूरी आशा है कि उसके अंदर सफलता मिलेगी।
आज दिनांक 25 दिसंबर को ओडिशा राज्य अंतर्गत सुरक्षा बल एवं माओवादियों के बीच में हुई मुठभेड़ में सेंट्रल कमेटी मेंबर गणेश उइके का डेड बॉडी रिकवर होने का भी प्राथमिक जानकारी मिल रहा है। इस संबंध में ओडिशा पुलिस और विस्तार से थोड़ी देर में जानकारी दे सकता है। वर्ष 2025 में देखा जाएगा, भारत सरकार और संबंधित राज्य सरकार के एक स्पष्ट संकल्प है माओवादी गतिविधि को पूर्ण रूप से समाप्त करना। उसी दिशा में लगातार प्रभावी रूप से कार्रवाई की गई, जिसके परिणाम स्वरूप अब तक जो भारतवर्ष में जो सीपीएम माओवादी संगठन का जो टॉप लीडरशिप, जिसमें सेंट्रल कमेटी मेंबर और जनरल सेक्रेटरी बसवराजू, सेंट्रल कमेटी मेंबर्स में सुधाकर, के रामचंद्र रेड्डी, कोसा, गजाला रवि, माडवी हिडुमा, इस प्रकार टोटल 10 माओवादी कैडर की डेड बॉडी अब तक रिकॉर्ड की गई। सुरक्षा बल एक संकल्प के साथ प्रभावी रूप से कार्रवाई कर रहा है, उसका परिणाम उनको भुगतना पड़ जाएगा।
Now, India's fight against Naxalism has recorded a major breakthrough over the past 2 years. Official data from the 1st of December 2023 to the 20th of December of this year shows that around 505 Naxals have been killed, in security operations. During the same period, nearly 2,447 Naxals surrendered, while about 1,920 were arrested, significantly weakening the insurgent network. Security forces they've also recovered around 1,025 weapons and defused or seized nearly 1,295 landmines, dealing a major blow to the Naxal infrastructure. These figures underline a decisive push by the security forces, marking a big victory in this ongoing fight against Naxalism and strengthening peace and stability in the affected regions. For more on this, we have Arunima live with us. Good morning, Arunima. Of course, we're given to understand that with this latest operation and with Ukey's death, Devuji is the only, perhaps, top commander who is left. And this is, of course, a major operation when it comes to India's vision of a Naxal-free India by 2026. We've really expedited that effort.
Yes, Ganesh Ukey was one of those who was wanted in multiple cases, including the Darbar Ghati, the Jiram Ghati case, where the entire Chhattisgarh Congress leadership was wiped clean. Earlier, Hidma was brought to justice. Again, somebody who was part of that operation. He was a mastermind, so to say. Ganesh Ukey supported him. Ukey was someone who was fluent in English, Hindi. He spoke the local Gondi language, which is spoken in this belt of Bastar. He could move around and swiftly merge with the crowd because of the language proficiency that he had. And he had taken over the Odisha unit of CPI Maoists after another top-level commander who was known by the name of Modam Balakrishna. He was brought to justice. This was in September, October. What security forces say is that they were giving repeated warnings to Ganesh Ukey and his team that if they wanted to surrender, they should. But they refused, and there was credible intelligence that was received by the local units after 20 erstwhile Maoist cadres surrendered and gave fresh insight about where Ganesh Ukey is operating. So in the Kandhamal area, he was finally brought to justice. 3 others who were accompanying him were also killed in that encounter. Devuji is the last man standing now, so to say. Of course, there will be a few others who are protecting him. But Devuji or Tirupati is the General Secretary of CPI Maoist, and we are just counting down to 3 more months before Home Minister Amit Shah's March 2026 deadline ends. In Odisha, you can say that it's almost Naxal-free now. Jharkhand and Bihar, we've already reached that milestone. Gadchiroli in Maharashtra has also swiftly moved towards that target. The only 2 remaining districts are Bijapur and Sukhma in Chhattisgarh. So in the next 3 months, because Abujmar has been breached too, you could see significant improvement in the situation as far as Naxal violence is concerned in these 2 districts as well.
Right, and at the speed at which we've seen these efforts go forward and the momentum that they've gained in the past 2 years as well, 3 months from that deadline, as you mentioned, do you think there's still perhaps the risk and the fear of them reorganizing?
That risk would always remain, because you see the history of CPI Maoist is that, and Ganesh Ukey, I just mentioned to you, security forces said that he was aware the time was running out for him. He could have surrendered, but he refused to, because ideologically they are so driven that they refuse to see what is written on the wall in terms of the future of the Maoist ideology and the Maoist movement. But there is always a risk that they could come back in some other form. Earlier, we had seen various splinter Maoist groups come together and form CPI Maoist. There was the CPI-ML, there was also the PUGL, there were smaller splinter groups. They all came together and later came up with this umbrella name of CPI Maoist. One doesn't really know in what form they would want to, come back to the path of violence, but the government and the security agencies definitely hope that with the ideological base chipping away, cadre strength chipping away, locals, youngsters in Chhattisgarh, in Odisha, who were earlier drawn to the Maoist ideology, now they don't, share that kind of an ideology at all. They look at their mobile phones, because mobile towers have now penetrated. They see the world outside through the World Wide Web, and they are aspirational youngsters as well. So that, I think, will be the key for the government to ensure development benefits reaches these areas after they are made free of Naxal violence, and win over the hearts and minds of the youngsters to convince them that Maoism is not the way forward.
Right. Well, Arunima, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on this. Now, let's shift our focus and now consider an Australia-like ban on children under 16 from accessing social media. This is a Madras High Court observation. A division bench of Justice G. Jayachandran and Justice K. Ramakrishnan made these observations recently while passing orders on a PIL seeking a direction to internet service providers to provide parental window service since pornographic content is available and accessible to young children. In light of that, they have said that you must consider an Australia-like ban on social media for children under the age of 16. Remember, this was a ban that was recently introduced in Australia, and they were given to understand that they may be exploring the possibility of passing a legislation like Australia, which prohibits the use of social media for children who are below the age of 16. The Madras High Court has suggested. The judges further said that till the time legislation is passed, the concerned authorities should in this meantime ramp up their awareness campaign more effectively. And the suggestion by the Madras High Court came in the backdrop of this public interest litigation, which was filed in 2018, which expressed concern that pornographic content is available and children can easily access it. So they're asking for some sort of parental checks and approvals and a window here to perhaps keep young children from being able to very easily access this sort of content. And observing that, the Madras High Court has suggested that they should explore a possibility, a law like Australia, which prohibits the use of social media for children who are below the age of 16. In the meantime, they've said that until such a law is brought in, the concerned authorities should ramp up their awareness campaign more effectively. And they've also suggested that perhaps other service providers can come in here and allow for parental window services so that such sort of content is not available to young children. All right, so let's shift our focus now. The Defence Acquisition Council, led by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, is set to convene today to discuss emergency procurement for the armed forces. The meeting aims to address critical gaps in India's defence capabilities, focusing on indigenous manufacturing and rapid replenishment of strategic weapons. The key agenda points here we're given to understand are: the Indian Navy is expected to acquire over 700 medium-range surface-to-air missiles jointly developed by the DRDO and Israel's Rafale Advanced Defense Systems to enhance maritime air defense. The Indian Air Force plans to procure over 600 Astra Mk2 beyond visual range air-to-air missiles, boosting long-range engagement capabilities. Approval for 300 Spice 2000 precision-guided bombs to enhance standoff accuracy, acquisition of low-level lightweight radars for the Army's air defense surveillance network. So these are some of the major procurement plans that are going to be on the agenda that we are given to understand. So the Defence Acquisition Council, which is led by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, is set to convene today, and they are going to be discussing the emergency procurement for the armed forces. The aim here is to address all critical gaps in India's defense capabilities and focus on indigenous manufacturing as well as the rapid replenishment of strategic weapons. So these were some of the key agenda items, as I mentioned earlier. For more on this, we have Akash live with us. Akash, thank you so much for joining me. Of course, the aim here is to address all critical gaps when it comes to emergency procurement as well. In light of all that we've seen happen recently, what can you tell us of the significance of this?
Right. So Defence Acquisition Council is the highest decision-making body of the Defence Ministry. And we have been given to understand that around 11:30, this meeting is going to happen, chaired by Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh. All three service chiefs and, in fact, the procurement officers will be sitting. Now, why it is important? It is important because this meeting somewhere will be deciding as to what the armed forces are going to get as far as weapons and systems are concerned. Now, important systems that are on the agenda, of course, agenda is not a public domain, but the sources within the Defence Ministry are telling us that MRSAMs for the Indian Navy, MRSAMs, a medium-range surface-to-air missile that protects, any 70 kilometer is one of the important agenda. Other than that, we can see that once again, emergency procurement route can be opened for the armed forces where there is a cap of 300 crore for any sort of system and Indian Armed Forces can go for emergency procurement. So emergency procurement is something that can be given a note by the meeting today. Other than that, as far as systems are concerned, so we are going to see a number of procurement, in fact, demand from the different services like drones and loitering munitions as well. But we'll only be getting as to if it has been approved by the Defence Acquisition Council after the conclusion of this particular meeting. Also, it is important to mention that as far as Defence Acquisition Council is concerned, that had approved emergency procurement during Operation Sindoor, and after that we have seen that how be it the Israeli drone Heron Mark II for all the forces, all the procurement, seen a number of months by state.
All right. So that's the latest that we're getting on that front. Let's shift our focus now. CNN News 18's Ananya Bhatnagar spoke exclusively with CJI Justice Suryakant. Let's listen to this. Are some of the major highlights of this conversation. CNN News 18's Ananya Bhatnagar spoke exclusively with CJI Justice Suryakant, who said, "I'm confident that experts will find a solution to Delhi's air pollution problem." This is an exclusive conversation with CNN News 18. Let's listen to what he said.
I just want to ask you one thing. You're here in Goa, the AQI is way dropped. I remember you telling me in Delhi that, when you went out for a walk, you in fact had a lot of problems. Now, how do you feel in how's the weather?
Goa, fortunately, the weather conditions are very good. I think this is the best time to visit Goa. And I'm thankful that Bar Council of India chose this during vacations so that our court time is not compromised and we are able to spend some time on the discussions, deliberations and for progressing the movement of mediation. Of course, Delhi is still having that AQI issue, and which I am sure that on judicial side we are dealing with, and as I have been closely following it, I'm quite confident that the experts will find out some solution to it.
I just want to ask you one thing. You're here in Goa, the AQI is way dropped. I remember you telling me in Delhi that, when you went out for a walk, you in fact had a lot of problems. Now, how do you feel in how's the weather?
Goa, fortunately, the weather conditions are very good. I think this is the best time to visit Goa. And I'm thankful that Bar Council of India chose this during vacations so that our court time is not compromised and we are able to spend some time on the discussions, deliberations and for progressing the movement of mediation. Of course, Delhi is still having that AQI issue, and which I am sure that on judicial side we are dealing with, and as I have been closely following it, I'm quite confident that the experts will find out some solution to it.
All right, so that was an exclusive conversation with CNN News 18's Ananya Bhatnagar. There, Justice Suryakant saying that I'm confident that the experts will find a solution to Delhi's air pollution problem. With that, we're going to call it a wrap on this edition of the News Bulletin. News and updates will continue on the other side on CNN News 18. Do stay tuned.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
We have breaking news coming in from Mysuru. This just in, helium cylinder blast in front of Mysuru Palace kills one person, leaves 4 people injured. The blast occurred near the exhibition grounds close to the Jayamarthalan gate, triggering scenes of panic with people screaming and running in distress on the busy road. Police suspect that the explosion took place while gas was being filled into balloons using a pumping machine. So a helium cylinder exploded near Mysuru Palace, killing a balloon seller and injuring 4 others. The blast occurred during balloon inflation, causing panic in a busy public area. Police have launched a detailed investigation focusing on safety protocols and cylinder handling procedures. Victims have been identified from Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka and Kolkata, as we know so far, and authorities are assessing whether negligence or technical failure caused the explosion. We have CNN News 18's Afreen Hussain joining us live right now. Afreen, good morning and thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. So, how will police and municipal authorities prevent similar incidents in public gathering spaces? They said that they're looking into the incident. How do you think they're going to, moving forward, prevent such incidences from occurring?
A very good morning to you and our viewers as well. Let me tell you that the police is on the scene. It happened at around 9 p.m. Last night. The police has been on the scene trying to figure out how exactly the blast happened, how the helium cylinder that was used to fill balloons was blasted, and it killed one person identified as Salim, who's the balloon seller, and also injured 4 others who were walking nearby. One of them is said to be in a very serious condition. Remains to be seen if that person is going to get better. We will follow up and keep our viewers updated on that. But it remains to be seen what the municipal authorities and the police are going to do going forward to make sure that such incidents don't happen, because it's very, very common that you see helium cylinders being used to fill balloons and sell it on the roads. It's a very common sight. What are the measures? What are the preventions that the municipal authorities are going to use, to make sure that the helium cylinders don't blast like this in the future is something that we have to look into.
Right. Right. Thank you so much, Afreen, for sharing your input with us. Shifting our focus to the Aravalli campaign now, autonomy is often a euphemism for quasi-control, particularly when it comes to government institutions amid the raging debate over the SC verdict on Aravalli's accepting government's 100-meter definition. The focus is now turned to the very report which forms the basis of protests, agitations and prospective challenges to the top court verdict. Quoted by the opposition leaders, environmentalists and citizens, the Forest Survey of India now says there is no report or survey findings in which it claimed that the 100-meter definition for hillocks would put 90% of Aravallis at risk. Days after the denial by the government, the FSI has now issued a statement of its own stating, and I quote, FSI categorically refutes claims in certain sections of the media that it has carried out any study saying that only 9% Aravalli is above 100 meters. The denial, which has become a political football now, also saw the former Environment Minister Jairam Ramesh engage in a war of words with current Environment Minister Bhupender Yadav over the FSI findings. Have a look.
कल सरकार ने एक नोटिफिकेशन निकाला अरावली को लेकिन वो नोटिफिकेशन केवल एक सुप्रीम कोर्ट के आदेश की अनुपालन करने का कार्य किया है सरकार ने, जिसमें जिस नोटिफिकेशन के अनुसार सरकार ने कहा है कि अभी जब तक प्लान नहीं बनेगा तब तक माइनिंग का कोई लीज नहीं दी जाएगी। तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी कहा, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने का जो फैसला है, जो फैसला सरकार ने अपनी वकालत करके, गलत वकालत करके कराया, उसमें यही कहा गया है कि 100 मीटर से कम पहाड़ी अरावली नहीं है और प्लानिंग की जाए और प्लान के बाद नई लीज के परमिशन दिए जाए। अरावली को बचाने के लिए हम संघर्ष करेंगे।
प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी और उनके चुनिंदा पूंजीपति देश में एक राम नाम सत्य है सरकार चला रहे हैं, जिसमें मनरेगा का राम नाम सत्य है कर दिया जाता है तो ग्रामीण श्रमिकों का राम नाम सत्य है हो जाता है। एग्ज़ाम पेपर लीक से छात्रों का राम नाम सत्य हो जाता है। बेरोजगारी के मंजर से युवाओं का राम नाम सत्य हो जाता है। काले कानून से किसानों का राम नाम सत्य हो जाता है। इस पर भी न रुकने वाले ये लोग अब अरावली का राम नाम सत्य है कर रहे हैं। आज के अखबारों में सुप्रीम कोर्ट के 2010 के जजमेंट के बारे में लिखा हुआ है और इस सरकार ने न केवल ये गरीबों के खिलाफ साजिश करती है, महिलाओं के खिलाफ साजिश करती है, मजदूरों के खिलाफ साजिश करती है, बल्कि अब ये हमारे जड़ जंगल ज़मीन पहाड़ों के खिलाफ भी साजिश कर रही है। आने वाली पीढ़ियाँ इस साजिश करने वाली सरकार को ठग सौंप
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. You're watching CNN News 18 with me, Hem Kaur Saroy. And here's a look at all the stories that we're tracking for you at this hour. Another Hindu man killed in Bangladesh accused of extortion. Meanwhile, Bangladesh police announces reward for information on Hindu household attackers who set on fire a Hindu-owned house near the southeastern port city of Chattogram as mob violence emerges as a major crisis in the changing and volatile political landscape. In another step towards Naxal-Mukt Bharat, Ganesh Ukey, head of Naxal outfit in Odisha, eliminated. Now only one top commander remains. Politics over the missing FSI report over Aravalli, centre and Congress straight charges. Meanwhile, action taken after CNN News 18's ground report in Alwar. 8 to 10 routes blocked by police using JCBs to stop mining. A 20-year-old Indian student, Shivank Awasthi, was shot dead near the University of Toronto Scarborough campus. After Sengar's release, Priyank Kharge takes a dig at BJP on X platform, says Beti Bachao has found a new meaning. BJP then corrects, says it's an AI-generated image. Priyank Kharge further deletes the post. All right, here's the latest that we're getting for you. Shocker from top Imam Rashidi. Maulana Sajid Rashidi offers Dhaka cover fire. Rashidi says what's happening in Bangladesh is not genocide. He's drawn comparisons to color equivalence. Imam has also downplayed Hindu lynchings. Now, this is the latest that we are getting right now, providing cover for the Dhaka violence. The situation that we've been seeing here says what's happening in Bangladesh is not genocide. This is the latest that we're getting right now. A shocker from top Imam here. Sajid Rashidi is offered cover for what's happening in Dhaka. Let's just listen into all the reactions that are coming in for this as well.
वहाँ पर ये कहा जा रहा है कि हिंदुओं का नरसंहार वहाँ पर हो रहा है।
ये टारगेट किलिंग लफ्ज़ कहाँ से आया है, किसने दिया है? आप मुझे बताइए, वहाँ के जो लोग सड़कों पर हैं वो हिंदुओं के खिलाफ थोड़ा ही हैं, वो तो अपनी हुकूमत के खिलाफ रोज़गार, महंगाई, इस चीज़ को लेकर सड़कों पर हैं। कुछ घटनाएं हो गई, उसको जेनोसाइड या उसको टारगेट किलिंग कैसे कह सकते हैं? चलिए, अगर मैं आपकी बात को मान लूँ कि वो टारगेट किलिंग है, तो यहाँ हिंदुस्तान में मुसलमानों को जो जय श्री राम का नारा लगाकर मारा जा रहा है और 50 मुसलमानों को करीब जो है मौत के घाट उतार दिया गया जय श्री राम का नारा लगाकर, तो इसको आप टारगेट किलिंग क्यों नहीं कहते? इसको जेनोसाइड क्यों नहीं कहते मुसलमानों का? ये दोहरा मेयार क्यों है? इसको टारगेट किलिंग बिल्कुल नहीं कहते। दीपू दास को जिस तरीके से मारा गया वो तरीका इस्लाम में है नहीं, मैं उसको साफ मना करता हूँ, ये गलत है। लेकिन उसको मारा इसलिए गया, उसने मोहम्मद साहब के बारे में गलत बातें कही सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम। जब आप किसी के मज़हब के बारे में या किसी के मज़हब के गॉड के बारे में या मैसेंजर ऑफ गॉड के बारे में बुरा भला कहेंगे तो गुस्सा किसी को भी आ सकता है। जहाँ इस्लामी हुकूमत है वहाँ मोहम्मद साहब के बारे में गलत कहने वाले को जो सज़ा तय है वो दी जाएगी। लेकिन बांग्लादेश लोकतांत्रिक देश है, हिंदुस्तान लोकतांत्रिक देश है, ऐसे देशों में किसी को मारना ठीक नहीं है। इस्लाम भी कहता है इस बात को, मैं मना कर रहा हूँ। लेकिन उसको टारगेट किलिंग कहना, उसको ये कहना कि हिंदुओं के खिलाफ एक साजिश हो रही है और जेनोसाइड हो रहा है, ये बिल्कुल गलत।
पहले हमने देखा कि दिग्विजय सिंह और राशिद अल्वी कांग्रेस के नेता कैसे इस्लामिक जिहाद की वाइट वॉशिंग और लीपापोती कर रहे थे। कह रहे थे कि दीपू दास का मारा जाना रिएक्शन था, भारत में अल्पसंख्यकों को मारा जाता है इसलिए उसको मारा गया, और उसे जायज़ ठहराकर उसे लेजिटिमाइज कर रहे थे। और अब यही काम साजिद रशीदी नाम के एक भड़काऊ भाईजान ने भी की है। इससे पहले भी उन्होंने कई भड़काऊ बयान दिए हैं, पर अब वो कहते 10-12 हिंदू मारे गए तो कौन सी बड़ी बात है? ये कौन सी टारगेटिंग किलिंग है? ये दिखाता है कि कैसे हिंदुओं को दो गाली, हिंदुओं की आस्था से लेकर हिंदुओं के ऊपर करो चोट, और मिलना है वोट बैंक का वोट, इसलिए करो इस्लामिक जिहादियों को सपोर्ट। ये इनकी मानसिकता और मंशा है। ये जिहाद बचाओ, जिहादी बचाओ गैंग है।
Well, CNN News 18's Pallavi Ghosh joins us with more details. Pallavi, an absolute shocking comment coming in from this top Maulana. This is the All India Imam Association President Maulana Sajid Rashidi. The Bharatiya Janata Party has already reacted. We've just heard from Shehzad Poonawala, but we've seen 2 Hindu men being killed in Bangladesh. The situation there is extremely tense. What do you make of this reaction that's come in so far? Absolutely shocking.
Yes, and Christine, the unfortunate part also is that the language which is now being pushed by many in the Bangladesh government regime is very similar to what the Imam is saying. Late last night, there was a statement which was issued by the Bangladesh government which pointed out that one Dipu Das was killed not because he had said anything against the Prophet, but because there were a small group of people who wanted him to leave his job, which he was not which he was resisting. The Mandal murder is also believed to be one, according to the Bangladesh government, is because he was believed to be an extortionist. He was harassing people for money, and therefore the crowd got agitated, few of them, and then they killed him. So in this case, the Bangladesh government has clearly downplayed the killing of these 2 Hindus in Bangladesh. But the same language is now being used by the Imam when he says that there are different stories which are coming out. It's absolutely unfortunate that you're going to give it a religious color and to say that Hindus are being targeted in Bangladesh. In fact, he corroborates the mob's language of Dhaka, who said that Dipu Chandra Das was killed because he was insulting the Prophet, something which his family has been consistently denying. But the Imam prefers to believe them, the mob which I'm talking about, rather than Dipu Das's family, and therefore he's speaking the same language which is being spoken in Bangladesh. And of course, you're right, it's absolutely unfortunate. One can't blame his political opponents or the BJP for criticizing these kind of comments coming in from the Imam.
Not just that, he's also in a way, validating the version, as you rightly pointed out, that's being shared by the police in Bangladesh, and downplaying why really, or what really was the reason why Dipu Chandra Das was killed. Now, this Maulana has come out to justify the killing, and another Hindu man has been killed, Pallavi. In the last few hours, we've been tracking the story of Amit Mondal, who's also been killed, once again in Hindu minorities increasingly being targeted in Bangladesh. All of that is something that Mr. Rashidi is clearly turned away from.
You know, for those who've hit the ground, and I remember I had gone there around a year back, Christine, when that Shahbag so-called revolution took place. You know, there are temples over there. There are a substantial amount of Hindu community there. I remember the Janmashtami festival was approaching, and all of them were seen at the main Dhaka police station headquarters because they were crying for a certain amount of protection to come in from the police. And many of them are refusing now to come on camera. You know, when you speak to them, they say, please call up on WhatsApp, call up us on Signal, because we don't want to be tracked down. Why is that fear there? Is it unjustified? Is it without a reason? Is it unsubstantiated? Clearly not. So when you see these scenes of Dipu Chandra Das or Mondal being attacked, killed, and also because they belong to minority community, there's a sense of fear as far as the Hindu community is concerned. Those of us who stay here will need to understand this. Imam is not understanding this. What is even unfortunate, I would say, is that their comments like Rashid Alvi and Digvijay Singh were saying it's a kind of tit for tat. You are emboldening those who are killing the minorities over there, not just Hindus, but also targeting the Christians. And similarly, Imam, despite the fact that he comes in from the same community, the religious community, Christine, is no justification where he once draws a parallel to Gaza. And second, he's believing the language of the lynch mob, where he says that, they were not killed because they belong to the Hindi community. They are killed because they were saying words against the Prophet.
Oh yes, almost justifying the mob killings here in Bangladesh. Stay on with us, Pallavi. I do want to go across to Sardar R.P. Singh, who joins us on the broadcast. Good morning, sir. Your thoughts, how do you look at this? An absolute shocking comment coming in from Maulana Sajid Rashidi, who is in a way providing cover fire to those innocent people, Hindus, who have lost their lives in Bangladesh amidst the fire that continues to escalate there.
This is shocking and appalling. I mean, how could Maulana give a cover fire to such ghastly incidents? And Maulana should not forget that his great grandparents would be Hindus only. I mean, he would have been converted some 400 years or 300 years ago or 500 years ago. But it is shocking that he's issuing such statement and justifying the killings of Hindus in Bangladesh and Dhaka in particular. But that's how the liberal or the so-called Islamist mindset works.
He says this is not genocide. Sardar R.P. Singh, is there fear? Because where we are right now, how we're placed next to Bangladesh, the political climate in Bangladesh, the kind of innocent killings that are ongoing, there's so much changing, evolving on a daily basis. Is there a fear in India that all of this is going to sooner or later start spreading the kind of hate we see coming in from people like Maulana Sajid Rashidi?
Well, it's further to what Digvijay Singh has said earlier, that it is actually to the reaction which has, this whole thing is because of some reaction which has happened in India. And as I said, there's a complete gang of people or such individuals who will justify what's happening in Bangladesh. And there's the same set of people who were against CA also. Although CA has nothing to do with Muslims, but they made a false pretext of that CA is against Islam or against Muslims. So it's the same set of people, whether it's Digvijay Singh or Rashid Alwi or Sajid, Maulana Sajid.
Sardar R.P. Singh, thank you for joining us. Pallavi continues to stay on with us. Pallavi, do you see a common pattern in the killings of both Deepu Das and Amrit Mondal? You've spoken of how a clear attempt to downplay the killings has been seen on part of the Bangladesh police. But if we just put the two stories together, what stands exposed?
Not just the police,